And also, one of the key things we often forget, like taking care of ourselves. We do often forget that. You got to stay hydrated, make sure you stretch. You can say no to meetings. You don't have to say yes to everything. So make sure that you're asking the right questions. Being present is very different to being hyper connected, right? And so I think the important thing here is, like, if you're present, that is being available, but not necessarily hyper connected, where you're online in the moment all the time, in every meeting and everything, because it's just absolutely exhausting. And the main thing, of course, ask for help if you need to. So there's some quick kind of things that I've found. And finally, take care of each other. An important thing. Make time for the human connections, not just the work. Reach out to others. How are you doing today? You look like you're a bit low. Is everything okay? It's also okay not to be okay. Most organizations have mental health well-being kind of initiatives. It's fine to not be okay, but it's also important that you are kind to each other and kind to yourselves. Like, one of the big things here is we tend to focus this stuff when we're working from home on being highly productive. And so we miss the fun element. We miss the element of banter and friendship, the fun element of work, the human connection. And that can be very difficult. So carve time out for that. You've seen people having, happy hours at the end of the day, coffee mornings. Make sure that you do that. Like, I've seen teams which have worked really well. Before a stand-up, have 5 minutes, open the call early so people can have coffee to talk about the day before. So they're not talking about work just all the time when they're talking to each other. The human connection is so important that if we miss that, then we miss a huge element of a big part of our lives. And it's important that we look after each other. Does that make sense to everyone? Like, kind of some of my initial reflections. Yeah. Okay, good. Thank you very much. Thanks, Veronica. So let's have a think about it, right? So what is this new normal? Like, the new normal? Like, I can just bring everyone to me and the mural board. If you're not already on the mural board, there's a link in the chat. I'm just going to put it back in again in case you missed it. So the new normal, I suppose, for a lot of organizations is, look, we've been doing this for 18 months or so. It kind of makes sense that people want to carry on working this way. The hand was forced for a lot of organizations, really, because there was a huge barrier to trust. Like, if you think of the X and, theory X, theory Y, and theory X being like, everyone's out for themselves. Everyone's, kind of try and make a quick buck. Everyone's going to try and, their intent is always selfish. Whereas theory Y is very much like focused on the bigger impact to others, and have good intent. Start with good intent. Everyone's trying the best they can with what they have. Well, actually, a lot of organizations don't trust people. There's a theory X constraint there, and that kind of, the problem with that is that, even when it would make more sense for people to be able to work from home rather than doing it an hour commute in and an hour commute back, just to be sat in the same place and have a big impact to their home life and whatever else, they needed to be seen to be in the desk, visible inside the pen. And suddenly all that had to change because it was mandated by governments and by countries worldwide. And it's important that we recognize that. There's a lot of companies here that have either decided that they're going to go full-time remote now, or full-time hybrid. And some of these are moving between the two to sort of get there. Facebook, for example, Square, Coinbase, Twitter, all organizations now say you can go full-time remote permanently. You can come in the office if you want. We have some offices still. Come back to them. But actually, if you want to work from home, you can. Other organizations are doing hybrid. So JP Morgan, for example, they were doing full remote, now saying about 20%, 25% of the workforce can stay fully remote, the rest of them being hybrid. Salesforce is fully remote. Deloitte is deciding to do that in the UK to maintain remote working. But actually, the one with Deloitte being optional, so it's empowered to the individual and their manager. If everyone feels it's okay, then fine. If your clients are all working remotely, well, why consult on site, right? Even organizations like BP and Ford are doing it, like hybrid or remote first working. It's an important thing. This is going to be how things move forward. There's always going to be this opportunity for this new approach to working. this new normal will be just the normal. My daughter, who's 14, won't know this world where she has to go to an office. It'll always just be a flexible thing. You can work from anywhere, you can be anywhere, because actually in the world of creative knowledge work, the value is in the human interaction and the work that you can do. It doesn't have to be that you're in one location. Now, there's a flip side to that, because we're tribal as humans. We need connectivity with others, regardless of whether introverted or extroverted. There's a human connection that's often needed, sometimes a bigger group, sometimes a smaller group. And so we have to almost work harder to maintain that, because if we don't work hard enough to maintain, then it becomes even harder to dispel those issues that people might face into. Some of those problems that you might face, which are, you know, the mental health issues, or the loneliness, or the fact that you feel disenfranchised or disempowered. There's some other issues that kind of pop out of this as well, right? Is actually, am I doing a good enough job? Because I don't know what's happening. Now, some of these companies are doing really well with this. Others are finding it challenging. Like some of the other firms that I've seen and been looking some research on this, is that actually we need everyone back, because we just need everyone back in the office. That's the only way you can do it. And often this is led by leadership. Often it's led by a fear of productivity losses. But actually the data is proving that there's a lot of increase in these productivity areas. People are being more flexible. They might work all weird hours, but at least they've now got childcare. At least they now have more time with the family. They can have, you know, their evening meal together. And if they're working slightly late in the evening, it's their choice. Of course, there's a flip side. There's the risk, the danger of this is that people will overcommit and try to do more than they've ever done before, to basically show that they are being productive, that they're being efficient, that they're actually adding value. And that's going to be a dangerous thing to sort of consider. Okay.